Hello. Not sure why, but my computer froze earlier. And then after it unfroze, it switched the style of this video from being a webcam to streaming software. And I couldn't switch it back. So I wasn't able to turn it back on um, since I'm streaming directly from YouTube. And what's odd is I keep having these issues when I'm streaming directly from YouTube, and I wasn't having the issues when I was streaming from Streamlab before. So, hi, Zach. Thanks for coming back. This is frustrating that this keeps happening, and I need to figure out what is going on because I can't keep trying to stream like this and having it act up this way. So, I'm glad you're still here. I appreciate that. You're awesome. And I appreciate you commenting in the other thing, like, hey, please hold technical difficulties. Really appreciate that. You are a wonderful support to this, or like a host almost of behind the scenes host that helps me fix these things. So thank you for your kindness. Let's keep going. I am not going to worry about. Let's see. I'm not going to worry about it too much, and I'm just going to dive back into the build. So, um, yeah. Anyhow, seeing this revealed at Fan Media Days was exciting. The team that designed it did a fantastic job, and they were so incredibly talented. But they also just shared about their design process and working with the Met that provided them through, yes, power through, thank you. Anyway, working with the Met that provided them with the actual to scale um, reference piece that they used, which was really exciting. Yeah, it was thrilling when they revealed that. We knew it wasn't a real Monet, of course. I mean, that would be wild if they were able to get a real Monet. But hi, yeah, my stream has crashed over and over and over again now over the last few weeks. Before it was crashing when those gestures were happening. I turned those off and I thought that was solving the issue. And for some reason, it crashed again, unbeknownst to me as to why. And the what I'm finding is after it crashes, if I disconnect and reconnect the camera, or if I hit refresh on the page where I was streaming, either way, whichever option I choose, what ends up happening is the stream will switch from being listed as webcam to being listed as streaming service. So, like if you were using StreamYard or another streaming service, which I was before using StreamYard and never had problems with it, or rarely had problems with it. But once it's switched to say that it's through a streaming service, you can't switch it back. It doesn't allow you to. So for some reason, it just like stays frozen forever, where I can't get anything reconnected. And what's it says on the screen is reconnect to go live again, and the timer is still ticking as if it's going live. So I don't know. I actually haven't looked to see what it looks like on the back end after these have been recorded. If it still shows like a blank screen for the 5 minutes or however long I am trying to figure it out. And if you can hear my voice occasionally saying, "Can you hear me?" It's so odd. And what I don't understand is I'm doing it directly from YouTube. So you would think that would be the easiest way to stream and would reduce the number of issues. But from my experience so far, I found that it increases the number of issues. So cool, cool, cool. But I'm back and y'all are here, which is great. There are 4 people on the live stream today so far, which is wonderful. So good to see you both. And anybody else, if you want to chime in the chat and let us know you're here, that'd be great. I am on bag 4. We're building a frame. Not the most glamorous part. This bag 4 is 32 of these bricks, and that's all. So you are filling in all those bricks, or all those plates rather, around the top of the frame. So um, this frame is built in a similar fashion to the one from Van Gogh, from the sunflowers. And I'm assuming that the way that the pins go in to hold in all the pieces will be similar as well. So one complaint that I've heard from people before, and I agree with, is it would be nice if those Technic axles that with the stoppers on the ends that go in the edges to fill it all in, it would be nice if they recolored them to match the frame. So one option, if they don't want to recolor the reddish brown pins that go in there, axle pins, is they could choose to do the frame as reddish brown, which I think could work. But I do like the frames as this light tan. I think it's pretty. So it's a nice approach. But yeah, that is one thing that I think they could improve on these sets, because you see those pins very visibly around the outside edge, which maybe that's intentional. Maybe Lego likes that. Um, but that is one thing that I think would elevate these modern art sets, not modern art sets, elevate these um, actual art sets that come from real life artwork in the world um, in a beautiful way. So, and a relatively monotonous part of the build. Speaking of, when I was finishing Venisar yesterday, let's see, right there behind me over there, the last or a lot of that build was very repetitive, because you build the four legs, and they're very similar, but a little bit of it is kind of a mirror image of itself. But then the top part, you build the four leaves and the six pink petals of the flower, which are very large pieces and components of it. It was a very, very repetitive build towards the end. And you would typically, like with the leaves, I think you built them over the course of 2 bags, maybe it was 3, I can't remember. And so I just ended up opening all the bags and doing them kind of step by step, where it was like, I build the first step, I build the second step, I build the third step, so that it's all done at once, as opposed to building an entire leaf, then another entire leaf, and the same with the petals. And that, to me, it does make it maybe a little bit more repetitive, but it also makes it go faster. And like I said, I wasn't expecting to be still building those Pokemon sets all weekend long, and even up until last night. So by the time I got to that point last night, I was like, let's just get this finished. um, so yeah, so some of these builds, of course, there are elements that are going to make sense that it's going to be repetitive. A frame, as an example, it needs to be there purposefully, for the set to look like the art piece that it needs to be, of course. But in doing so, it is a little bit of a repetitive build. All right, no surprise here. This is what a frame looks like. I'm sure that's shocking to y'all. Now, the next bag, it looks like we're adding in some additional plating detail on the top. So more tan fun. Um, and then, ooh, here we go. Now we're also getting some white tiles. And I think that's going to make this look nice and sleek on top. And like I typically have as a problem with these paper bags, is some of the pieces get stuck in there, and it's harder to know that you're missing some pieces. Whereas with the clear bags, you can see them. Hi, Cassie. I'm building Monet. It's fun. So far, it's just a frame. But yeah, it's a nice frame, at least. So lots of these parts now, lots of these plates. It says there's 11 around the outside edges here that we start with. And I'm guessing this is going to go around the far edges, and then right on the inside is going to be all of these white tiles, which would make sense because it gives a little bit of that vibe of like having a mat inside the frame, which is cool. So yeah, if anybody has a contact at YouTube and wants to tell them, hey, my friend Justin is having trouble with the feed canceling and messing up over and over again, can you help him fix it? It would be great, because yeah, this is a little annoying to have to deal with, and I feel like it's not a good user experience for y'all. So the fact that you keep coming back when it fails on me is such a testament to your support for me, which I so appreciate. So thank you. Genuinely, thank you so much for being good people. For those of y'all in the chat, who is participating in the Valentine's Habitat Challenge? Complete pressure there. I usually say no pressure, but no, I want all of you to, please. It's so much fun. I think before I started this stream today, we had 4 grids of 9 that I already shared, which means 36 habitats have been shared. One person built 3, and then Philip and mine, we built 1 collectively, so we're collaborating on ours, so, that reduces the number or increases the number based on how many per person. But with that many done or shared already, that would mean that there are 34 people individually who have built already, which is really exciting. I think our number last year, when we got to the end of the year, okay, I'm missing a part. Here it is, not missing it. Our number last year at the end of the 3 days of Valentine's Habitats was 89. So my goal is to beat that. And the year before, we actually had more. And so my goal is really to get us back to that level again if we can. So that's my personal goal. There's no winning or losing rationale behind that at all. It's more just like that's what I'd like to see happen. So we'll see. You're not sister has a flower shop and we are busy this time of year. Fun. I love that. And yes, I'm sure super busy. Hi, Glenn. Boop again. Thanks for joining again. Y'all are so fantastic to just keep coming back when the stream fails me. So maybe eventually I'll get this fixed. Nice 10-minute long delay by notifications. Yeah, I'm glad you're here because of the notifications, and I'm really hoping to make this not happen like this anymore because, oh my gosh, it's frustrating. All right, so now it says 14 of these. All right, so we're getting a lot of these 2x6 white tiles. And what I love about these frames is normally when I'm placing tiles, I'm thoughtful about that registration mark that's on one or the other side, making sure that it's hidden and it never shows up in view. But you don't have to worry about that because in this case, both the left and right sides of all of these tiles are covered. So that is a very satisfying piece that I love not having to worry about. Is there still time? There is still time. Your legmate had a fun habitat-like build he was really proud of, but doesn't necessarily have Instagram, and I wanted to ask if I could submit for him. You can, you absolutely can. And if he wants to participate in the Build with BJB challenge, he can also submit that through Discord, and I'll count that as well. So I'm not making the decision for Habitat Challenge to make it that you can submit from multiple places. So for it to count for Habitat Challenge, it needs to be in the habitat or on Instagram, of course, but if he wants to, he is welcome to, and or if you just want to post his, that's perfectly fine too. So I don't own any of the art series, but then I saw the set. Yes, and you definitely need this one. I would say this is. I will say we don't own the Great Wave set. That's one that I didn't get that I am still debating on. I can't remember if it's still in store shelves or not, but that's one that I would love to have, I think. But we do own the others and the Van Gogh starring, or I mean is that Van Gogh as well? Starry Night? I think it is. Anyway, Starry Night I got for my 40th birthday, and it's been sitting in our backlog for forever. And so my goal is to maybe build it next week. Mona Lisa we got for review and ordered that in advance after it was on store shelves for review. And so that's one that we haven't built yet, but is another that needs to be built. We don't have the Great Wave. We do have Sunflowers, which was gorgeous. And we also have the Modern Art set. I loved that set. I know it got a lot of heat and criticism from people, but I thought it was really fun and taught some great art techniques. That it was like going to art school. So I highly recommended that one, but lots of people didn't love it so much. So, and had great parts too. It was a really wonderful one for playing around and really pushing your creativity and imagination. And I think that's where a lot of people got stuck because a lot of Lego builders are set builders who enjoy building the set, but don't really want to do much of their own customization or anything. And I think that set relied a little too heavily on encouraging people to do customizing stuff. So that's my 2 cents. You got both the Wave and the Starry Night in the backlog. Oh, nice. Yeah, Starry Night, that was one that I really wanted, and my best friend bought me for my 40th, and it's sat in the backlog now too long. The Wave is one that every time I look at it, I think this is gorgeous, and I really want the build experience. But my thought with it initially was we don't have a lot of wall space, and our house is already pretty full of Lego. So is that really something that I need per se to have on the wall? And Maybe it is. Maybe it is after all. We'll see. I really am excited to have the Starry Night built, but I think I'll probably have that out on a shelf, similar to the way that I have my Wicked wall art, where it's standing up as opposed to mounted and displayed on the wall. So, okay, it is almost 2 o'clock. How is the dust accumulation on the art sets? Great question. I need to look at our Van Gogh one because it is three-dimensional, and get a sense of that. I built it last January, so it's been a year. So I'll take a look and let you know. I don't know off the top of my head because we moved it out of this room to have Christmas stuff up. So it used to be actually behind me, beside the Wicked set here. And we actually didn't have it hanging. We had it just standing up against the wall, on this buffet behind me. Um, but I don't recall it being too bad, but I would say that any Lego set, of course, accumulates dust. The What I have noticed with the round tile mosaics that I've done over the years, those tend to get a ton of dust in them. And since they're round, there's little tiny crevices, of course, where the dust can squeeze in. So that can be a little um, frustrating to have to deal with. So, all right, we are almost done with the frame. Coming down to those last bits, and then we can get into some of the exciting parts, which this frame is still really, really nice. And it is sleek. I feel like it's a very nice visual. I kind of wish I had brought out the Van Gogh, so I could compare the frames, the sunflowers, because I do remember building the frame and thinking, "Wow, this is very um, like there's not a ton to it, but it still was very nice in terms of the final result." I loved the way that it attached. I just agreed with everyone that those axle pin pieces should have been tan. So, and I think in this set they're going to be. I'll be surprised if they're not reddish brown. As well. I don't think they did a recolor for those. So, ugh, dust, my least favorite thing about Lego. Yes, agreed. It's never fun to deal with. Okay, everybody. We have the frame done. Get your cameras ready. So this is the size, decent. It looks like it's going to be a little more than two plates, two 16 by 16 plates wide, and a little more than three tall. Ah, I love playing with silly frames. So I actually kind of want, I was framed. I actually kind of want to build a bunch of frames like this to use as photo props. At events and things. That'd be fun. Or I could just buy frames, I suppose. But how much more fun is it if they're brick built? All right, we are diving into the next portion. And what I love is we're getting some beautiful colors for the build. So let me check and see what I'm going to be building first so I can get a sense of like where in the frame. Oh, wait. Okay, this is very exciting. Okay, so what's exciting about this is I can set the frame aside and don't have to be building within it, which is exciting because it takes up so much space. Instead, I'm going to be building something else that will lay inside and then get pinned in afterward. And I think that's how the Van Gogh one was as well. I can't remember. So you need the black and white or gray striped prisoner shirt. Yes, that would be perfect. Okay, so let me show you what I was excited about. So we're getting some regular of the kind of dark green ones, but we're also getting our regular green ones. But we're also getting dark green in some different shapes, including a lot of dark green and black of the 16 by 16. So this has two black, two green, and then four of the dark green. Um, and we'll be using in this first section two of these dark greens of the larger ones. Yay! I just love this color. It's so luscious and beautiful. And then we'll be using some of the smaller dark greens. Oh, those are black. These, yeah, those are all black. Yeah. And one of these. Let me get all those out. The other extra piece, so there's 3 bags of extra parts, not extra, but like larger parts. And then there's also this very long, it looks like dark red flex tube, which will be fun to incorporate in. I'm kind of disappointed there's only one. Often with flex tubes, I feel like there's an extra in there, but maybe because of the size of it, it's more expensive to produce, would be my guess. So, all right, let's build bag 6. Okay, 3 soft plastic bags. Yeah, isn't that interesting? You need to. Oh yeah, yeah. I was surprised to see all of those in there. Um, they probably could have gotten away with putting it all together, but I'm guessing it has to do with how it's manufactured. But they have separated the black, the green, and the dark green to make it easier to see which color you're using. Um, so And this is, it looks like we're doing a lot of the base of the whole image first, which is the same as the sunflowers. You do the entire base first, and then on top of the base, you start to do all the greebling to get more fun details. So what I loved about that was you got to see from a painting standpoint what colors kind of go in the background behind everything. And it kind of was like painting layer upon layer upon layer. It was really cool. The other thing that and this is not a complaint, but just a reality. I wish that Lego would set it up to where the podcast that goes with each of these would be available for us to use and listen to while we are building them when we get them for early access. Because I found the podcasts for um, the Beatles and for the Marilyn Monroe set and for Spider-Man to all be really delightful and fun to listen to. They were just super fun. And so it was a really unique experience to learn more about kind of the art behind it. And they talked with art historians. And actually, the Andy Warhol one might have been my favorite. But the timing of when we get these, since they're early access sets, it's always before they publish the podcast live. So I'm glad that there will be a podcast for people to listen to while they're building their sets in the future. For me, I may just listen to it on my own afterward, maybe going for a walk, just because I'd love to hear a little bit more about it. But it is fun to get a sense of like more detail behind the story of how they designed and created the set and what went into it. So, like, I imagine they probably have people from the Met who will talk about their involvement in the process and a little bit about history with Claude Monet and learning more about him and his life. So, really interesting things that. That's a beautiful add-on, and it's also something that anyone can listen to. You don't have to have the set to listen to it, which is great. It's live, or the link, I believe, would work for anybody. And it's just a QR code that's in the instruction book. So I would think that you could download the instruction books and find it already. Um, Not already. I would think you could find the QR code to download it after the set's available. Um, and if not, I'm sure there'd be ways to like have somebody share the link or whatever so you could listen to it. Definitely need to get this and the Van Gogh sunflowers. Yes, agreed. It's just they're just really beautiful. I'm always so impressed with the art sets. I had someone comment in my reveal post about it, how they thought it was so cringy to hear all these influencers in the room gasping with so much fake excitement about these different types of things and how they thought the set was mid. And I responded and said, have you ever seen a Monet in person? It is like far from mid. like, like these are really, really beautiful. And then someone took what I said and thought that meant I was saying that we saw a real Monet. there, when really what I was doing was just being snarky back to the person because it was very exciting to see a replica of a Monet and then to see it replicated in Lego. Truthfully, my excitement is genuine in all of those videos. You all know me and you all know how excited I am, right? Yeah. Right, that's the other thing. It's fake. How do you know? Right. And the person who said it's fake was like, "There's no way that that's a real one. They wouldn't put it on the ground because it was on the ground in the room." And truthfully, I agree with that person. You know, it's probably true that if we had a real one that was on display for us to see, that they wouldn't just put it on the ground for us to look at. But it was an actual replica of the right size and scale, which is cool. Um, and my comment was less at the person who was saying like that can't be a real one. My comment was actually more at the other person who was like, "Your excitement is fake." I'm like, "Do you know me? I'm a very excitable person." Like, that's just a part of my personality. I also just I love things. I love things. And that's part of the joy of life. I love being excited about things. I really do enjoy getting excited about things. So when you watch a video and you hear me exclaiming and gasping and whatever, that's just me. And I'm not sorry about it. Like, sorry, not sorry, right? So it's just funny to me, like, how nasty some people can be about stuff when it's like, why? Like, what's the point of being so nasty? What's the point of being so angry at life? Life is fun. And honestly, life is more fun when you allow yourself just to have fun and enjoy it. So that's my little rant for the day, for y'all. Have fun. Allow yourself to have fun and allow others to have fun. And if people have fun differently than you do, that's okay because we're all different people. And it's perfectly fine to get excited about things. It's actually more enjoyable to have life where you can get excited about things and share that excitement with other people. It's so much fun. So, ba-da-da-da-da-da. There's my rant. I feel like this is now becoming like my mini rants in my live streams, and they're never like I don't think of them as dramatic rants in any way whatsoever. But I do feel like I've noticed the last handful of times that I'm like, yeah, I'm ranting a little bit. I will say that my rants also often tend to be about like people getting upset about the Lego Investor Network, and I think that's just because often the anger and vitriol is not directed at me, which is kind of weird because I'm like, well, I'm in there too, but it's directed at some of my friends that are in there, and it's like the arguments and the grossness that comes directed at them. It's usually super negative and very dismissive of these people as people, and I feel like part of it is I get defensive because I'm like, these are good people, and you are trashing them for no apparent reason. Like, is it anger? Is it jealousy? Is it um, sexism? Because a lot of times it's the women that get trashed, which I'm like, y'all, come on, pay attention to what you're doing. Um, you're being really rude to people, and it all happens to be the same demographic that you're being rude to. So, anyhow, hello. Glad that work is over. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful. Um, so yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna respond with whatever I'm gonna respond with to that person because I was like, this is silly. Don't be angry. Um, so but yeah, I did ask like afterward, before I responded to the person who said, "There's no way that's a real Monet." Before I responded to that person, I asked, can you tell me a little bit about like the scale and that kind of thing? And it was to scale the replica that the designers used, which is awesome that Met provided them with a to scale replica to be able to use from, which is cool. So you're going to blame Emperor Palpatine. Yes, Emperor Palpatine is the worst. Hi, Bev. Good to see you. Yay. Fun, fun. Thank you both for joining. Um, had technical difficulties again. No surprise there, because that's the new expectation for me of my feed. I don't understand what's going on. Something is up with the way that it might be related to my camera that I plug into my computer. or it may be related to streaming directly from YouTube. So either way, it's frustrating, and I'm sorry that it happens, and I'm grateful for y'all for dealing with it and navigating with me to whatever the next stream is, to make it work so that we can all enjoy time together. So yay! Um, have y'all been playing Pokemon? Ben has problems when he streams also. I need to chat with him about it, and see. Tangerine Palpatine is even worse, but enough about the naysayers. Yes, agreed. Yeah, I need to chat with Ben about it and just see, like, if he has any tips for me on, how to address whatever the issues are with mine. Because he's a very knowledgeable friend and a very helpful friend. I had him help me, take a look at my, Discord when I was getting that set up for my build challenge community, and appreciate his willingness to jump in and give some advice and perspective and such. So, um, but yeah, I ought to check in and see, like, what types of issues have you run into, and are they the same as mine? And if so, like, can we somehow band together to reach out to our friends over at YouTube and say, "Hey, please help us fix this"? All right. So, like I thought with this set, we're not necessarily at the glamorous, exciting parts right away. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there, but we will, which is fun. Right now, we're just doing the core structure for what the beautiful um, layers of paint will go. So, I'll show you once I'm done with this bag, which will be just a minute, where we're at and what's coming up next. Thoughts on most of the Super Bowl commercials? Good question. Anybody have thoughts on Super Bowl commercials? We enjoyed watching them. There weren't as many that felt that exciting and memorable this year, in my opinion. Also, my husband works in advertising, so because of that, we pay very close attention to ads in the Super Bowl. So, yeah. Ooh, we're putting on some color. Yay, fun. Okay, I need one other part. This one here. So for those just joining, this set comes with a bunch of these 16 by 16 plates. We get 3 in black, 4 in dark green, and 2 in regular green, this color, which is nice. And it looks like it is maybe 3 wide by 4 tall, potentially. I could be wrong there. We'll see. But yeah, we're going across the top here. And I feel like this is where I would want the mallets that we had on Lego Masters, which Philip bought me one. It's very loud though, so I don't want to like hammer while I'm on the stream. um, but it is a useful tool to have. So, and randomly in this bag, I don't think this. Oh, I know why. There's an extra of these pens. It's because I had the picture hanger part. So. You didn't watch the Super Bowl, but you did see online that there were a handful AI generated ads, which I'm personally not a fan of at all. I did not see anything about AI generated ads, and that's not to say there isn't any. I'm sure there probably were some, which is really crummy. I agree. I'm not a huge fan at all, and by that I mean I'm really not a fan. I think AI is garbage slop. I think AI art, we'll put it that way. There are incredible artists who do incredible work and should get paid to put their work forward, in my opinion. So I'm seeing a little bit more of that in the Lego community, where I'm seeing people post AI created um, edits and things, and every single time I see it, it just makes me frustrated because it's like, I know that it can be kind of fun and silly to use some of these like AI tools to create like silly memes or whatever, but ultimately, I really love the Lego community because it's a way to see actual built things or even digitally built things, which is fine if you're using digital software. That makes it more accessible, which is good. But you had to create that. Like you had to do something with your brain to get it to that point. Y'all, look how beautiful this is. Isn't it gorgeous? No, I do like the colors that we're getting for the background, but yeah, I'm excited to see more from here. Agreed. Most uses of AI that I've seen are so dumb and not worth the resources used to make them. Agreed. The resources used to make them is the piece that I think gets me the most frustrated about it. But then also fact that it's chipping away at people's way to make ability to make money doing the things that they have trained to do and have a legitimate talent in. And there was something that was really funny that I saw online on Threads where someone was ranting about people rant about AI a lot, and I often agree actually with their rants. But this person was ranting about AI, and they reshared somebody's thread where the person was saying how upset she was that people were stealing from her. Which usually I'm a proponent of the person who got stolen from, and I'm like, y'all give credit where credit is due. But what she was complaining that they stole were her chat GPT prompts that she uses to make her art, and how it's so unfair that she created this art with her chat GPT phrases she created, and now someone else is making money off of those by reusing her words that she wrote to ChatGPT. And the comment section was so delightful. It was wonderful to see people coming at her and yelling at her about how what you created is not art that you created. And people stealing your prompts. Like, this is the epitome of like not reading the room and missing the whole point of the controversy. So, what I don't know is whether or not it was like a true thing, or if that person was saying it as a snarky way. Sometimes that happens, of course, and then it blows up. But I just thought it was hysterical. I was like, y'all, no, 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 no. Ooh, okay, we're gonna put in some beautiful colors. So we're getting lots of different greens in this. In the top corner, we're starting with this beautiful sand green and making a little bit of that, and then that's going to turn into regular green. And this is the part where I feel like I'm painting with bricks, which is cool. So, not to mention the impact on computer part prices. Oh, yeah, that's true too. As soon as I see anyone in the Lego community using AI, if I unfollow them. I do too. The only times I don't is if it's like they used AI to animate a minifig as a part of their picture, but they still like created builds on their own. I don't like it. I don't engage with it or interact with it because I don't want to see that in my feed. But if it's still someone who's actually still building and they're not using AI to create Lego AI things, I feel a little bit differently about it. I still, in general, have a distaste for it. To me, I think you could be a heck of a lot more creative on your own without the assistance of a not very creative, not well um, created and used software. like, um, and I know it's going to get harder and harder for things to be um, noted on whether or not it's fake or made with AI or whatever. And I think that freaks me out. I believe fully that governments will have a lot of issues because of AI, and also will use AI as a way to get people not to believe their eyes and not to trust themselves and trust what they're seeing. We're already seeing that a lot in society, and so that makes me really nervous too, because I think there are some major consequences that can come from that too. And it's easy to find yourself questioning when you're looking at something. Wait, is this AI? Should I support this? Like that can be really, really scary. And so, I saw this one thing where someone was complaining that the heated rivalry books, they said that those were clearly AI. And the funny thing is, they were written before ChatGPT existed. And so, the author also has a history of writing other things. Like it's not AI. But that goes to show you though how people will criticize something and dismiss something altogether that's actual art very easily and very quickly, um, because it may just feel a little off to them. And it might feel off to you because maybe it's a different perspective or something that you're just not used to seeing, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's fake. Um, and yeah, that kind of stuff is what makes me nervous. Also, like seeing if something gets awards, like art gets awarded and you find out later that it was fake. Like that's in the past when we found out that something was stolen from someone's artwork or whatever, it was usually pretty easy for that person to defend themselves and prove that it was their own. And I think in this age, it can be more challenging for people to get to that place of proof. And so, yeah. Anyway, again, another rant. This is so fun. The Coinbase karaoke one was off guard. Yes, that one was really uncomfortable to watch for sure. I saw a vid recently comparing how AI and kindergarten kids imagine a fantasy animal and the AI had just mixed real animals together while the kids came up with entirely new animals or creatures. That is so cool. And I love studies like that that show and demonstrate the power of real creativity and imagination. I think those are the examples that we need to continue to amplify and support and share so that people can see those examples. So, if you end up finding a link for that, if you want to send it my way, I'd love to see it and maybe amplify it myself. Um, so yeah. Anyhow, yeah, the karaoke Coinbase one, I said that was uncomfortable. Now that I think about it, it wasn't uncomfortable. It got my attention in the sense that like I was watching, going, "What even is this for?" But it was dumb, in my opinion. It just was like, well, that was kind of a waste of my time. I didn't like it. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other ads. That's so funny to me because usually it's like the talk of the town afterward are the ads, and that's all you can think about and remember. And truthfully, I don't remember most ads from it. That said, I was sitting right here. Our TV is way across the room over there. And Philip was watching the game. I was like glancing up, but I was mostly building Venusaur over behind me over here. And didn't really care about the teams. Although I was rooting for the Seahawks because I don't like the Patriots more than I don't really have any opinion about the Seahawks. So yeah. Uh, but yeah, so maybe it is that I also just wasn't paying as much attention as I have in the past. But, any other thoughts on some of the ads that you saw? Um, Thanks. Yeah. But at least it made me listen to the actual song. Yes, that's true. There you go. Right. See, there's some good that can come out of this. I also think like that one was fun to me in the sense that that the artists got paid for their music and likeness to be included. So I think that's one thing that I always enjoy about the Super Bowl ads is seeing like um, the big names that get featured. I think that can always be really fun too. Okay, I'm gonna do this next section, this step number 22, and then I'll show you what it's coming together as because it's really, really pretty so far. So, what I love too after, since I am doing the time lapse above me here, is watching the time lapse of the painting process of these, because you just kind of see the colors gradually move their way across the screen, and it's just so pretty. Um, the art sets in particular are really great sets to do time lapses for. You just have to have a little bit of patience to do time lapses for your builds and have to have the right types of tools to set it up. So like I have this wonderful canvas lamp that I love, that is both a lamp but I don't really use it as lamp, and more importantly a stand for iPhones, or for smartphones, that you can use to do any type of overhead streaming or camera work. So I love having that because it's great for doing overhead views of things like this. Um, so yeah, since today you're on the live stream, you're seeing some of this in slow motion or regular speed motion. But once I have all of this finished, ideally I will have a full build video that's the live stream, or I mean the speed build version of it. So you can watch it all come together that way. All right, let's take a pause. Y'all look. It's so pretty. So I'm guessing I think these are gonna be a little bit of the trees in the background. I love the different, colors of green that we're seeing. It's really, really nice, and I like that we are using that dark green as the back. I think that's gonna create some really beautiful depth and shadows, for this, and, the designers were joking when they were, talking with us, but they said, at one point they looked at each other and said, "I think we're using nearly every single color in our color palette available to us." Because there are so many colors within this. And a huge goal of theirs was to make it as accurate as possible, which meant they really had to pay very close attention to the color usage. So yeah, I'm excited to have you see the final product once it's done. So yes, green hearts, which is fun. I actually have a whole bunch of these green hearts because they were on the Pick-a-Brick wall at one point. So I have a bag full, and I used quite a few of them actually in our ground floor of our Wicked build that Philip and I did together. So we did the Wizard's Map Room from the first movie, and the ground of it is all the bright green color. So that color, the same color of those hearts. Um, and yeah, we used up nearly all of those parts that we had in that color for that build. So I was grateful when I was working on the Wicked project, the other Wicked project, so a different one, after that fact, after we'd finished our build. I was working on the one for the Wicked premiere. And in that one, I was able to request a bunch of different parts to use for it. And some of the parts that I have were that brighter green color. So didn't replenish the things that we used by any means, but the pieces that were kind of left over from that project, I was able to keep, which was really, really nice. So I do have some additional ones in my stash now. All right, and then it's fun that we're getting this red, and there's another blue 1x2 plate in here that are being thrown in, and I'm sure that'll just add a little bit of depth too as we add in some additional colors. I love the combination of colors when you see colors side by side or overlapping in a way that it adjusts and changes the way that your brain interprets those colors. I think that can be a really pretty impact of this, and I think that would be the most thrilling part of getting to do a replica like this, is finding ways to take the existing color palette and adapt what people see by putting certain pieces next to each other or overlapping or whatnot. So yeah. Now I need to rummage through my Pick-a-Brick stuff and see if I got green hearts. I totally would if I saw them on the wall. I'm pretty sure you have some because I know they were at the Barton Creek Pick-a-Brick. So lots of nice parts and new colors from the pictures. Yes, it's just a really pretty set. And yeah, with these types of things, this is often where we get recolors because it has to be as clean and identical as possible. So, all right, we are almost to the stopping point with this bag, or the finishing point with this bag, which means we're gonna probably build out the colorful grid on the left-hand side of this too. So excited to see all of that come together. And it's going to be hard once I'm done with this live stream today to put this aside and not finish it today because I do have to go back to running the habitat challenge. And that is a very time intensive process. It's a lot of fun, but definitely takes some time. So, all right, here is the end of that bag, which was bag 7. You can see we just did the border on the edge and look at how beautiful those green colors are in the background. So like I said, we're basically doing layer after layer of paint. So the very base layer is the large plates paint, and then the next layer is the colorful parts that we're putting on top of that. The greebling continues over and over again with this set, and it goes all the way up to the top layer where we are adding clips with bars, and that is the coolest impact, and has a really beautiful visual to it once it's done. That was my favorite part about the set, was how they used clips and bars to create some beautiful brushstroke lines and things. And I think it's probably going to be a very tedious part of the part of the build too, but will be worth it. Oh, actually, I thought maybe that would be the next layer, or like down the road once we get this whole layer done. But this bag is full of clips, so it might be section by section that you're doing it, which I love even more. And we'll make this an even more fun live stream. Okay, fun. Okay, so this didn't come with bars yet. Maybe bag 9 will have the bars. I can't tell. It's not see-through. So we will see. But y'all, we've gotten through 8 bags, or we're on bag 8. That's a lot of progress, especially with some technical difficulties. Yay! Okay, so we start with a little bit of the border again. Clippity clip clip, that's right. What can you tell us about the inventory at the back of the instructions? Oh, hey, that's a smart thought. Let me take a look. Good question. So the back shows there are 32 lime, 14 of the lightish lime, 6 of the bright blue, 24 teal or turquoise, 7 bright green, 9 longer bright green, 11 aqua, light aqua, um, 22 lime green katanas, um, and these are all just bars in here. There are a bunch of the lime green carrot tops, lime green bullhorns, um, reddish brown bars. We're getting a lot of the like animal horn parts in different colors too. It's really, really full of some great parts. So yeah. Um, clip head prawn. I don't know what prawn means. Help me out. Forgive me. What exactly goes into hosting apart from reposting, commenting, etc.? I'm going to take the time to stack those green heart plates. Yes, you should. What goes into hosting? So first off, you need to be preparing the information that gets shared about like what the challenge is and when it happens and all that kind of stuff. You also need to be answering questions, and since we always have new people each time, there are a million questions from people, and even if you try your best to have all the information clear and visible and in one place, language barriers around the globe also challenge people's ability to understand things too. And so there's all kinds of factors there that lead to like re-answering the same question a million times over, which is perfectly fine. I am totally down for that because my goal is to help people participate. So if that means I have to re-answer the question 12 times or try re-answering it in a different way because it didn't make sense to you at first, I'm more than happy to do it. So, beyond that, though, you have to um, accept the collaboration. Um, Most of the communication back and forth is teaching people how to collaborate on Instagram with a post because it's not the most intuitive process and it's something that a lot of people have never done before. And so that's a big piece of it too, is educating people on that process. And then the way that we typically try to share all of them is we do grids of 9 at a time. And that way it's a more manageable amount of stories that are shared from the account. And it also kind of gives you a little bit of a break because if there's only 7 ready, you can wait until the next 2 are there to post the next one. And so you can take a coffee break. And there's also a large Excel type grid that we update with all of the data around how many people participated, what countries they're from. Um, if there's a giveaway associated with the challenge, then that adds another layer of detail because you want to make sure that you have all the correct detail listed for everyone so that no one accidentally gets miscounted in the prize drawings and that kind of thing. For Valentine's, we're not doing prizes this time, which makes it easier, but we still like to keep accurate count of every participant, which is nice. So those are some of the things that go into it. I think the biggest thing for me is the back and forth communication with people. And then as hosts, we try to make sure that we comment on every single post to encourage engagement from everyone else in there too. I would say that as a host, my biggest ask for people who are watching to support is to comment on as many of the posts as possible. So if you just go into Habitat Challenge and work your way through all of the posts and just give a nice little comment to each person, think of something that you could share with them that's just a piece of gratitude for what they built. Like what's a simple thing that you can praise them for? Like, oh, I really like the way that you did your tree in that scene, or that was such a clever story, or like a beautiful story that you shared that was personal in your build. Those are the types of things that I always look to try and comment on because I want people to know that we're paying attention and taking note of the really cool and intentional things that people are doing with their builds, or the beautiful storytelling that they're sharing with it too. And it's just a very feel good thing for people. A lot of times, habitat challenges are the first entry into building mocks for people. And so, getting any type of praise or feedback, if delivered in a constructive, thoughtful way, can be really influential in getting those people to come back for other challenges in the future. So, I take it very seriously that this whole process of hosting is a big welcome mat, welcoming people into the AFOL community. So I hope that makes sense. I've noticed that hosts comment on every picture, and I think that's really wholesome. It's really important for us to do. It really means a lot. It's something that Jen set up from the very beginning, and she is still very involved, just more behind the scenes now. And she wants to ensure that what she established and created from the start continues to share that vibe and feel. And she's been open to feedback from the very beginning and has consistently led from a place of joy and heart, which I love. So she's open to improving things to help make it more inclusive and welcoming to people. And that's been a big joy that I've had, getting to work with her. And she's also a dear friend of mine now. So we've gotten to know each other really well through this too. So, can you repeat the instructions again for for habitats? Yes, I can if you need me to. I can also share them again in our group chat thing. But essentially, you're building a thing with two walls and a floor, and they can stack. The way that you build them has to be done in a way that allows them to stack on top of each other. So it is important to get the scale right for these. Um, but I think what a lot of people miss with this, especially if they're like pretty strong mock builders already, oftentimes people will see them and think, oh, that's an easy thing. And they don't know actually how challenging it can be to build at that scale, especially to do really good detail work. And so I love to see when people that I really admire their build styles and that build really big scale things join in the fun, because it shows and demonstrates that there's still room for growth at your build level, no matter what level you're at. So yeah, so I think sometimes habitats get dismissed as not being as challenging or intense or whatever. And I actually firmly disagree. I think building detailed work in that scale is quite a task. So I encourage all of you to participate. It's not too late to participate. You can still enter, even if you wait until the very last day and you enter just one build. It doesn't even have to be an entire stack. We will still count that as participating in the challenge. Although, of course, I would love for you to do at least 3 builds so that you can have a completed stack, just for the fun of it. And if you were in my Build with BJB community, I am asking everyone who is participating in the challenge as a part of the Build with BJB community to do a full stack, because we need to show up and represent, y'all. We need to show people how it's done. Just kidding. Um, so, yeah. I also am curious to see how many people will learn about my Build with BJB community as a result of the Habitat Challenge this time. I hadn't really thought about that piece. I'd more thought about like what will work easily for. Yay! I'm glad you'll work on it today. I can send you a link for mine too. Missy will help me post my habitat. Awesome! Thanks, Bev. And if you are not on Instagram, you don't have to join Instagram to share it as a part of Build with BJB. I'm only making that rule for Build with BJB. I'm not changing the rules for Habitat Challenge because I don't own the Habitat Challenge, and I don't want my rules to change the way they go for other people, since we rotate who hosts. So that one, if you want credit per se of it being a part of the Habitat Challenge, you need to post it to Instagram. But if you want it just credit for the Build with BJB challenge, feel free to just share it to Discord, and I'll count it that way too. I keep track of the data of who participates as well for that. And part of that is, if you remember last year, I did some prizes towards the end of the year for my community, as gratitude for those who had participated throughout the year. And so I want to do that again this year. And that's an important piece for me. So So yes, so I would love to see y'all participate. Honestly, we love building them at our house. We have a really good time with it. One of the things that Philip really enjoys with building is building detailed storytelling. So he takes a lot of thought into the story that we're creating and what visual elements will tell that story well, which I love. I think that's something that we actually share in common. So it's nice to get to work with him on these things. And he really enjoys minifig customization. So he loves going through our minifigs and piecing together what torsos and shirts and everything match and make sense to fit the character that we're trying to create. Because we usually create things out of pop culture. So for ours this time, we did a joint habitat stack. So we built three total between the two of us. He focused predominantly on minifig customization and came up with a lot of the scene ideas. And then we agreed on what scenes we were building, and I'm building most of the physical habitat parts too. So with some like influence and support from each other along the way. So and ours are the first one we shared today is from a book slash TV show called Heated Rivalry that we love. I'm actually reading the book series right now and am doing it in conjunction with the Little Gay Shop, which is in Austin, Texas. They are a queer-owned bookstore and are doing book clubs each month on it. So we read Game Changers last month. I am still finishing it. I'm way behind, and that's the first book in the series. It's the third episode in the show. And the book club meeting was supposed to happen on a day that we had a winter storm. So it got moved and I couldn't go to the date that it got moved to, unfortunately. So I'm excited for February to finally show up to the book club meeting for the first time. But I need to read that second book, which is actually the book that's called Heated Rivalry. So Heated Rivalry for the win. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. You said you guys nailed it for the year. You're so sweet. Yeah, we really loved the show and what it represents. And the book is fantastic too. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't read as much like romance stuff in the past, and so it's newer for me to be reading that style. And it can be a little embarrassing at times because it's like, oh wow, this is like really not vulgar, but just like kind of graphic or whatever. But the story is actually really beautiful in addition to it being a very sexy story too. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I love book clubs. I've long been parts of them. I used to run one for, I want to say it was like 15 years that I ran a book club for higher ed professionals, people that worked in university campuses like I did. And so, yeah, I have a big passion for reading and for communicating and connecting with others over the books that you're reading. So, surprise, surprise that that would show up in other parts of my life too. So, let's see. Last year, my theme for Valentine's Habitats was love songs, and I actually sang a song for each one that I built, which was really fun. So I loved perform. I grew up as a musical performer. That was a huge part of my life as a child, and so it's fun to incorporate into things here. I even say as a child, but even into my younger adulthood, like through my mid 20s, I did musicals and performances and all kinds of things. So it was fun to get to sing and sing some love songs, which is great. Um, okay, something is. Oh, I'm missing some parts. That's why. It's like, what is wrong here? This isn't going down as far as I wanted it to. Okay. I am getting close to a stopping point with this bag as well. And once I'm there, then I will show you the progress that we made on this one. So, are any of y'all readers? And if so, what types of books do you read? That would be a fun theme, is to build characters from books. We've done that before, like one-off characters from different things, but maybe doing an entire series where that's my focus. That might be kind of fun. One thing that Jen let us do as a part of making these challenges our own is like, if we want to add additional components of the challenge or whatever, feel free. So I didn't force everyone to do music as their theme last year, but I did have that as an optional add-on theme, and it was fun to see about half the people did love songs for theirs, which they may have been planning to do that anyway. You know, it's not necessarily because that's something. But it was really great to see like what songs inspire other people, and especially since it's a global challenge, like what are people listening to in other countries? So, what love songs ring true for them, which I thought was really fun. So let's see. Okay, this goes like this. We have these frames. Victor, are you home or are you driving home? Ooh, murder mystery. I love that. And that doesn't surprise me. I definitely see you as a murder mystery fan. Do you have any favorite authors that you like to read? I can enjoy a good murder mystery from time to time. I've read a lot of different genres in part because of running book clubs. It's, you know, lots of times different people pick different things. And so, um, and I would always want it that people were in the book club, had a voice and say in what books we were reading. Which was funny because I think I overdid it with trying to be inclusive there. Because sometimes my friends who were in it were like, "We don't care, just pick something." I'm like, "No, I want everyone to participate." So, John Sandford is your favorite. Nice. I'm not familiar, so I need to look him up. I like reading nonfiction or historical fiction books, Vikings, Roman Empire, etc. Nice. I love reading memoirs in particular. So when it comes to like uh, eh, nonfiction, that's an area that I gravitate towards. Um, and they can be memoirs of all different types of professions. Like it's not just celebrity memoirs, although I've read quite a few of those. I love reading about people who work in different industries, and one book that I really enjoyed that it was an unexpected love, or not love, but an unexpected joy to read was a book about Pixar. I The reason it was unexpected is because I love Pixar and I love animation and was very excited to read it. What I didn't realize was the person who I was reading about was the finance person who set them up to have stock offerings, and that's actually part of what made them successful, um, beyond just the movies. And so I learned so much about the importance of stock offerings for a company like Pixar. And it just surprised me because it was not at all the story I was expecting to read. But ended up being good. And one memoir that I would highly, highly recommend that everybody read is a fantastic collection of short stories that are all memoirs of people who live between cultures. And so it's a lot of celebrities and professionals across the United States who have multiple different cultural backgrounds. And most of them came to the US at some specific point in time, or their families did before them. And they immigrated here. It's called American Like Me, and it is a really beautiful um, portrait of um, America through a much more diverse lens than I think a lot of people are used to seeing our country. And it also just includes some really heart-wrenching stories at times too, and very powerful stories. So that's one that was really good. It was edited and gathered together by America Ferrera, whom I love. She's an amazing activist and amazing actress, and writer. So yeah, it really, really powerful story. So that's my one rec. Another rec that I would have is along the same lines. It's called The Queer Advantage, and it is a book of like 50 different queer people talking about how their LGBTQ identities shape their leadership style and who they are and have made them into better humans. And that was, I found to be very empowering. And I read that with a book club with my employee resource group, our LGBTQ employee resource group at my last company, when I created our diversity, equity, and inclusion function at my company. And so it was really fun and empowering to read with a whole bunch of other queer employees who were having their own experience with the book too. So yeah, I'm seeing some comments here. I find I if you are many of you I think have been on the feed before, but how sometimes I get caught in the build and forget to notice the comments, mostly because the screen is a little bit further away in order to have the camera where it is. So let me look and see. So have I need to hop back into reading. I would love to focus on queer and gay autobiographies. Awesome. In that case, Zach, you have to read the queer advantage. That's a great starting point. And it also gives you a glimpse into a whole bunch of stories that then you might want to dive deeper into one of their memoirs, because a lot of them have written full memoirs too. Missy says, I don't read a lot. I read really slow, so I can't always remember what I just read, but mystery books is what I like. That's totally fair. I find that certain types of books, I have to reread and reread and reread certain portions of it for me to retain it. So I can relate to that in some ways. How goes it? This looks like a daunting build. It is. I had thought that they were going with a water lilies painting when I heard about this, not the bridge scene. Oh yeah, I love that it's the bridge over a pond of water lilies, but it's a different look and vibe. The reason for that is this was the first one that he ever did. Okay, also quick look. So we did this side first. We just did this side. Look at those clips. I'm so excited. I hope the next bag has the bars in it, so that we can lay down the next layer and you can get a glimpse of what this is going to look like. But there were a million clips that I just put on. Approximately a million, maybe a few more, a few less. We'll see. Okay, I'm just going to glance through. Oh my goodness. Okay, y'all. We're gonna keep building. And I'm very excited because as we're going through the painting, um, we are painting layer after layer of this, and it's gonna be really, really pretty to see all the different layers come together. So I'm gonna open this bag. Then I'm going to pause this speed build camera above me, and I'm gonna switch that over to do like a regular video view for just a minute, for the other video that I'm working on with this. So give me just a moment. This is the like behind the scenes of content creation in action. So I stop that. I move this over to regular camera. It might switch my headphones over, so bear with me if it does. I'll take this off and I'll come down here. All of those clips. There's so many. I do love the multiple different layers of greens. Lots of beautiful parts here. Oh, this is really pretty. I'm very, very happy with this. And yeah, Glenn, just like you said, there's a lot of those green hearts in there. Okay, that is done. Let me attach this back again. I love that this, whoops. I love that this camera or this canvas light mount works with the magnets built into your phone already. So it's a really easy to use process. So, all right, we are diving into bag 9. Look at these beautiful bits and pieces, y'all. You have to tilt it without it all spilling. Still no bars yet, but we will get there. But we're adding in some blue. So going back to your thought about like being surprised that this was not just the paintings of the water lilies, but it was the one of the bridge. If I remember correctly, this was the first painting of more than 250 paintings of water lilies that he did. Also, this one was about 3.5 feet tall, or like 1 meter tall, and a little more than 1 meter tall, and 29 inches wide. And so it was a smaller or excuse me, a smaller painting than some of his other ones that are enormous. If you've ever seen a Monet in person, I've seen one once, and it is massive, and just breathtaking. I mean, I could have stayed in that room with that Monet for hours upon hours upon hours and just been completely enthralled. It was when we were in London, and it was actually on display at the Tate, which is a modern art gallery that would not normally have one of these in it. So it was bizarre that they had it featured, but it was really, really incredible. And so, anyhow, I was thrilled to see this one was one that was being picked, and also since it's smaller, I think it's more manageable for it to kind of map over to Lego. Now the Lego build is smaller than the actual large one, of course. It's much smaller, but I think it retains more of the details that come through his iconic art style, because of closer in scale size than if they did one of the larger water lilies pieces. They would almost have to like just take a section of one in order to replicate it effectively, I think. So yeah, and also, I if you've seen the video of the reveal, they bring out that replica that they had from the Met, and that was really nice to get to see in person, in comparison between the Lego set that the designers were unveiling and their reference piece. So yeah. Okay, so now we're adding in a fourth green. So now we've got lime green in there. I covered up some bits of red already with some clips, and so I'm wondering if the bits of red that we have in here are more for, and this blue as well. They might be more just to help your eyes visually know where you're supposed to put pieces. I was kind of thinking that they would be showing through with their colors, but that may not be the case. And yeah, clip after clip after clip, y'all. This is going to be full of these clips. And once we start to put in those rods, I think it'll be interesting to see if it feels monotonous and frustrating or if it's like very easy to navigate. My hope is that it's easy to navigate, but we'll see. Since they might clip, I believe, between two clips at a time, and also since the clips are side by side, having the clips side by side keeps them predominantly at the exact angle they need to be. I am using my brick zipper to adjust this line of them because there's a whole bunch side by side right here. Um, but that may help also make sure that those lines are nice and crisp as well. Uh, but yeah, it was really fun to hear from the designers. So I learned as a part of that whole process about how the designers actually get really nervous about presenting to fan media because it's their first time sharing their builds with an audience of people that aren't other designers. And often the other designers don't even know much about what they're working on because they have to keep things so secretive. And so it's kind of their first public um, input time, and they get a sense from our reaction on how well the sets will be received by people. And there's a lot of criticism that gets thrown at the Lego Investor Network, and people say like, "Oh, there's no way that everybody was that excited about this stuff," and all that kind of stuff. If you were in the room, you would see there's actually a lot of really tough questions that get asked, and challenging. Questions that get asked of the designers too, and they talk about some of the process to building and designing a set that sometimes results in you don't get things exactly the way that you were wanting it to be, and you have to like make some adjustments and changes here and there and that kind of stuff. So I love to hear all of that stuff, and I think it's important to get a sense of all those pieces. After all, Lego is a business, right? So they have to be thoughtful about what's the cost of a product, how much are they going to sell it for, so that they can make the amount of money that they want to make. How do they also hopefully think about how their pricing is pricing people out of a hobby, and what can they do about that? So the feedback that you all provide to us also does get passed back over to Lego. Um, I enjoy hearing it. I think it's important also as a part of my role to pass on honest feedback. But what I would say is just be thoughtful about how you're delivering feedback to people. When people come at me with hate, I'm like, I have no interest in listening to you. Also, I'm preaching to the choir. Like, y'all are good people. And many of you have shared criticism and feedback that I passed on to Lego already. And so I appreciate that you all know how to do it in a way that's respectful. So, um, hey, look, another rant. It's like rant day with Justin. Um, okay. Also, Victor messaged me about seeing the otters after the fact and realizing that last week on Friday's live, Victor was trying to ask about the otters, and I played it cool and was like, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not allowed to talk about leaks. And that was a leak at that point. It hadn't actually been revealed. But yes, I did get to see the otters. I loved interviewing the designer for them, Chris McVeigh. I am a huge fangirl of Chris McVeigh. So that was my favorite interview, because I just was like dying to meet him, and he was so talented and so smart and funny and just such a good guy. So yes, I did know that there were otters coming because I saw them at Fan Media Days, and I did keep it quiet because I saw them at Fan Media Days, and we signed NDAs that say we won't talk. So, if you ask questions about things that are leaks, I will not answer them. And if I'm evading your question, um, take for that whatever it is that you want to take for that. But I'm not going to tell you what I know or don't know. Okay, we're getting some blue in here. We also got a little bit of reddish brown, so that would make sense with some trees and water. I love this bright blue color. We got plenty of it in lots of different interesting shapes in our Pokemon sets. Another thing I really love to look at and see is how certain sets will get certain colors of things, and then all of a sudden you'll see it show up in another set in a totally different theme. And one thing I learned is with Lego, when you're designing something, they have to design it for a specific price point. So they have to aim for like a certain amount of pieces and parts and that kind of stuff. And when they do, if they want a new piece recolored in a different color, or if they have an idea for a new mold altogether, they often have to find other people in other builds to make use of those pieces as well. So they can advocate for it being a new piece or a new recolor. So sometimes you're like, oh, I remember seeing this random piece that's in this art piece also in Pokemon. That's why, which makes sense because they have to factor in the financial cost of producing something brand new, um, and how that can factor in some things. So yeah, that was an interesting piece to learn from the Lego designers too. So, what reveals that have officially been revealed are you all excited about? And does anybody have plans for March 1st sets that you already know about that have been officially announced? Maybe I need to be careful about the way I ask questions too, because maybe sometimes I'm teeing you up to talk about leaks, even though I'm not intentionally trying to do so. All right, now we're getting in some teal and some dark red. This is really fun. Once I get these dark red pieces on, I will turn it around to show you what it's starting to look like. Oh shoot, I'm off by one. That is going to shift all of this over. Dadgummit. That's another thing that is a silly fun fact about me. I grew up, I was born in Southern Illinois, and I grew up with family that says things like dadgummit instead of damn it. And so my default phrases often I get teased about because they sound old and outdated or whatever, but that's from just the family I grew up in and the environment I was in. So um, if I'm legit upset about something, I'll usually use those phrases even more so, which I think is fun. Okay. It is like the greebling on this is really interesting to do, and also it's a little bit tedious to make sure that you have everything in the right spaces. And if you get like one thing off because you're measuring based on how close things are to each other, sometimes that can be really tough too. So, all right. Oh, there's one more piece. Let me get this one on, and then I'll show you. Look at this, y'all. So look at it from far away. First off, you can even see some of the detail from those clips shining through already. And then we come closer. It's really, really fun. So this is one more layer of painting that we're adding in. There is a lunar art set, My Gingerbread, and a few interesting Victorian houses that people have created. I'm not sure if there's any new sets you want to get. Yeah, that, and you're talking about that people can vote on for the Brickling Designer Program, right? Yeah, this set is really, really stunning. And I knew it would be a very enjoyable build to me. I think, people who don't like Greebling, this probably isn't the set for you. But I love it. I love to see ways that they use different shapes to create different visual cues for your brain. And I love the art tricks that your brain plays on you when you step back from it and take some distance from it. Because up close, of course, you're going to notice things in such a different way. So Um, really, really fun approaches here. My goal today is to get through at least one section of the greebling so that you all can see what that looks like, and get a sense of all of that. All right, we are done with this base layer, and there's one more layer of bricks that we're going to put on here, but I want to show you the full thing here. Look in that middle section, with like the water and kind of the ripples in the waves. I think that's really, really pretty. And then now on this portion here where we have that sand green, we're going to be adding some sand blue leaves and also some light lavender and regular lavender leaves, which means you have to pay very close attention to the color you're putting on because those are all very similar. We're also adding on some regular bright green, um, of these little floral pieces, and those are the light lavender pieces as well that we're putting in here. Um, so that's going to add some additional depth, and kind of brush stroke type coloring, here. It's also fun to see how like this portion that I'm putting on now, some of these sand blue elements actually overlap a little bit of the sand green and the brighter green beside it. And so it's creating some additional depth there too. So, where was I? I'm here. I need to put this one here. Yeah, this is definitely a set that you have to pay close attention to where you are putting some things, because it could be very easy to get off the grid, or the placement of where you're supposed to be putting things. That's also where I love when you notice like, oh, there's a seam there between the two Lego pieces that you can kind of cross check your own work. That can be really nice. So, all right, that part is down. I think there's going to be another page of these leaves. Yes, there is. Oh, and this is, it's right in the crevice of the page, so that's going to make it hard to see. All right, on top of those sand green, we are putting on this bright light blue. So another layer of kind of color gradient fun that we have there too. So, what set are being released on March 1st? Besides the Pokemon sets, I am unclear of what's coming out officially. Good question. I know of some Disney sets that are coming out. So I've got Winnie the Pooh and Piglet to build. I had debated building them today, but I just was too excited about this one. And I had forgotten that this one was, that I was able to build it live today. I thought it was like later in the month that I could share it with y'all. So I once I realized the timing of it, I was like, nope, we're doing this instead. Um, but yeah, the Piglet and Winnie the Pooh are coming out. Um, I think there's some new cars that are coming out that are like Speed Champions. I don't remember those as much. Let me just cross check this. Okay, really pretty. Okay, y'all, look at that. So looking at it far away, it just looks just like the painting in terms of like the little dabbles of paint and color that you're seeing. But let's zoom in and you can see all those beautiful colors together. And then we're going to continue with those leaves, moving across here. And this next bag has the um, bright light lime green color, bright light green, I think. This one, there's a whole bunch in here for that too. The new Winnie the Pooh looks interesting, but something about the face, like Pikachu, feels a bit off. Bethany from Interactive Bricks had a great article on Brick Nerd swapping out the eyes, on that one. Yeah, I haven't seen her article yet. She's fantastic. I love. Are you talking? Yeah, Interactive Bricks, right? She is a good friend, first off, and also a great set reviewer. I really like the way that she reviews sets. And she does them typically for Tips and Bricks. So I didn't know she was doing it for Brick Nerd as well. But she is, just the way she sees detail and thinks about it, is sometimes similar to what I want to look for or care about. And so I appreciate that. Also, y'all, look at all of these butterflies, butterfly in my hand. They are aqua, light aqua. So, and look at these cherries. Look at these cherries in bright light blue. Hey, how fun. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. So, so cool. Okay, anyway, back to building. Yeah, I'll need to read her review there of it. So yeah, I haven't built the Winnie the Pooh yet. That'll be on my list to do hopefully soon. I have what else do I have to build? I'm trying to think of what else because they sent me quite a few things all at once. Um, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got my work cut out for me for the rest of February. And those would be March 1st sets. Some haven't been announced yet, so I can't share those. And I don't remember. I know the F1 ones that they sent me were announced. They're Speed Champion size F1 cars, and it's for the new F1 Academy that Lego created. So that's super cool. It's a beautiful car. It's bright and vibrant in colors, and they introduced that at a recent F1 race. I want to say it was even December, maybe when they introduced it officially, but maybe January. Um, all right, more leaves, fun colors. Um, yeah, so I have some of those to do. And the reason I'm focusing on the ones that I have to do is because I'm trying to answer your question of what else comes out in March, and I don't know off the top of my head everything, but I knew that that was a starting place for me to think through what all was coming. January, June, and August tend to be really, really big set reveal dates where new sets come, and so um, there aren't always as many big announcements that come around this time of year. Okay, this is getting to be pretty tedious with placement, so I need to make sure, like that one I just placed wrong. I need to redo it. There we go. Yeah, this is definitely one to have to focus on when you're building. So warning there, not a bad thing, but just an important thing to think about. But it is so cool to see how these colors blend together so seamlessly. Um, I can't wait to have it built. Oh, another thing I forgot to tell y'all. We are going to Paris for our best friend's birthday, for her 40th. It's been something she's wanted to do for years now. And we said years ago we would do it. And all of a sudden it's the year. So we're going to go. And when we're there, we are going to see the stuff at the museum for the water lilies and see the paintings in real life. And I knew this set was coming out. I couldn't tell my best friend, so I was just chatting with her last night because she saw my reveal video and she's like, "What? Oh my gosh!" I was like, I know, how cool." So it makes me even more excited to be able to get to review this because we'll get to go and see them in real life. Yeah, it's going to be a very expensive trip, which is unfortunate. I wish that travel was not expensive for everybody, right? It would be wonderful if we could all travel more and see more of the world. But that will be our big, big, big trip this year, and maybe our only trip this year because of that. So, but very excited. So that adds even more fun to getting to build out this set. So yeah. Okay. Also, all of these leaves are like twisted in different ways, and I love how with these leaf shapes you can twist things in very organic ways, but it also means that there's even more that you have to think about with the placement. So, yes, we are so excited to go. It's going to be really fun. I think it was a one-off. They had wanted her to try and motorize him, but found it difficult. Oh, cool. Okay, the thing with Bethany. Love the new butterflies in for some greebling. Yes, I'm very excited about the new butterflies there. And the new Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, that's what you're saying. And then this one is currently in the Met Fifth Avenue, but trip to Paris sounds fun. Have you been before? Yes, no, I've not been to Paris before. Yes, this one won't be one that we get to see there because yes, it's in the Met. That's why the Met provided them with the reference point one that they got to see as they were building designing it. But But yeah, we're going to Monet's house where he has the garden that he created and tended to in order to create um, all of the beautiful scenes that he ended up painting. So yeah, like getting to experience that in real life, like what in the world? How cool of an experience will this be? So I feel immensely lucky and also nervous about the cost. It's going to be an expensive trip. But a fun one, a very, very fun one. And we're looking forward to it for sure. Plus, we get to celebrate our friend. She's amazing and she deserves to be celebrated. So it's going to be great. But yeah, I have never been to Paris before. I have been to London and Windsor. So those are the areas in the UK. I've been to all over Denmark, which we'd been to Copenhagen and Billund and Odense, but we went to more places this last trip too. And so that's another area that I have explored more. Went to Amsterdam for a day because our flight got canceled and we got trapped there for a day, which was amazing and a really fun surprise adventure that we weren't expecting to have on the way home. And I've been to Hungary for work, which was Debrecen mostly. I flew into Budapest, but went to Debrecen for the work part and to Costa Rica for work, which was just incredible for sure. So I've had some really cool adventures and would love to have more. I was also supposed to go to Shanghai and to was supposed to go to Penang, Malaysia, and was so excited, was going to be going for work. And it just happened to be a year called 2020 and happened to be the week that coronavirus started to spread around the world. So I'm glad I didn't go then because I would have been trapped in a different country for a very long time since they didn't let people out once you were there at the time. Because yeah, that was such a terrifying time in our world, right? So yeah, ended up not getting to go on that trip, which I was so excited and very nervous for. But am grateful that we were able to stay safe. So I didn't know you were going to the house. Need to get a picture of the two of you on the bridge. Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and so we're gonna go to the house. It's outside of Paris, but there is also a museum in Paris that has a couple of his paintings. But the main paintings are outside of Paris. So we'll do some day trips out that way, which would be nice. Okay, adding another layer of leaves on. And as we get these on, once they're on, I'll show you what it looks like, but it's really cool to see how it's adding in some additional layers of color and texture. These leaf shapes are so perfect for adding texture. I think it was very smart of them to use this for the painting elements because it gives that organic feel more so than straight rigid lines do. Although once we get to adding on the bars, I think you're going to be impressed once you see it kind of together. It's really really cool. Okay, so more of these little green flower bits that are going on top of the leaves, and then we're also layering leaf on top of leaf. So this is going to be quite deep. One, two, three, four. Okay, we got all of those. And then now we're adding in the cherries. So the blue cherries go inside these lime. Uh, we put a blue cherry and a lime leaf, and then we do that 10 times. So I'm going to do all those first and then put them on to add additional color. Oh, this is really beautiful. Have any of you ever been to Paris? And do you know of any way to do things for free? um, this is definitely a once in a lifetime trip experience for us. So we're making the most of it, but also, of course, being thoughtful about how to make it work. Y'all, I'm excited for the Habitat Challenge and seeing so many people participate so far. Like I said, my goal is to have more participants than last year. So we were about halfway there today. Not quite halfway, we were more than a third of the way there today already, though. And typically the numbers start to dwindle or start to pick up again like late afternoon, evening in Austin timeframe. And I think that's because the US people start getting out of work. And so that's when they have time to post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, 4 more. Um, so yeah, I think we'll get there for sure. But if you have never done it before, or if you have, I would love for you to participate. So don't forget to stamp your Lego passport in Paris. Yes, for sure. That is a very important thing to do. When I went to Costa Rica, I completely forgot and left it at home. My friend took me to the Lego store, and I didn't remember to ask if they had stamps or anything, and I forever will regret that. And then another trip when we went to London for a second time, both of the times, or the second time was for Philip's work. He had a work trip, and so I got to tag along, which helped pay for part of the trip. But that second time that we went, I left our passports at home and we had to get new ones. So we actually have two passports that I want to take out the staples and put it back inside so that I can staple them together and make it into one passport and have all of them collected together. Um, so yes, now we remember our Lego passports pretty strictly because we've forgotten them a couple of times. Although one place I always forget to bring them is the Austin Barton Creek Mall because I just don't remember to bring it because it's like, well, this is my home, like my hometown, right? But there are some really cool new stamps, and also we've been to the Austin Lego store plenty of times, so I should have some stamps from there. So I need to remember the next time I go, which maybe I will go on Friday. On Friday, I'm headed down to Bricks and Minifigs South Austin to judge the mock contest. So if you are local to Austin, which I know a few of you are, I highly recommend that you head down sometime between today and Friday and vote for the winners of the challenge. The three winners win simply by people voting. So the top three vote getters will always win something. And then I get to pick the grand prize winner. So it's a lot of fun. And it's really cool. And also, it's both kids and adults who participate. So I highly recommend you participate as well, friends. Okay. Let me adjust these a little bit more. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aha, there's the other one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I have these cherries in, and I'm gonna put in the butterflies first, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right, this says, we've used Lego butterfly elements to evoke the lush natural environment that Monet created at Giverny, and to replicate the brushstrokes in the painting. So Giverny is the city, or it's town rather, where he moved his family and where they built the beautiful gardens that got photographed. I mean, that got painted for his iconic paintings. And I am trying to make sure that the placement and layout of these butterflies is correct because that is important to the brushstroke detail. I know that the Lego artists who are designers had full intention around all of it. So I want to give them their my due diligence to make sure that it best replicates the way that they built it. Which means having some patience as I put these on. Okay. Wow, so many butterflies. I'm wondering if Glenn or somebody who's on the feed, will you look up what colors the katana piece comes in? I'm wondering if lime is a new print color for it. Because I know that they have lime in this set, but I don't know if that's a new color or not. Oh my goodness, this is cool. All right, just a few more left. This is really cool. Um, two more. Y'all, this is really cool. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we are at a place where I believe the next bag is going to start putting in. Oh my goodness, awesome. The next bag will be the lines of the rods in here. So here's a look from far away. And we'll zoom in up close for y'all to see. It's really cool. Loving, loving the colors and the details here. It's just really pretty. So cool. So cool. Okay, let's move on to bag 11. What's wild is I think because the frame was so many bags, there's 25 bags, and we're already at bag 11. Um, so this might be one that I finish a lot faster than I thought I was going to. Okay, this bag is so fun. Here's where we see a lot of those rod colors. So I'm going to do what I did before and focus on the other video real quick. So give me just a moment. So stop the time lapse, switch this over to video, move it from here. Wow. Oh, I love the use of these butterflies, these cherries, all recolored just for this set. So many leaves. You can see all kinds of detail in the layering here that's really meant to evoke the idea and the feeling and vibe of the beautiful brushstrokes. All right, let's flip this back and get this going again on the time lapse. And go. And we're back. This is not out till March 1st, right? The main katana color is lime. Not sure if there is a second. It comes in 9 sets in that color for this mold. Oh, interesting. Thank you for checking. I was curious. So there are a few different katana molds. One mold was made in lime. Yeah, I think that might be the one that's in this set. So we'll see as we get to building it. But I didn't remember if it was actually new for this. I do think that the cherries in this bright blue color, which are in this bag, as well as the cherries in the bright light blue color that we already saw in the last bag, I think those are all new recolors. Okay, now we're moving over the next section. So we're getting some navy and or dark blue, depending on which naming convention you're going with, but getting some of those leaves and those colors, and then continuing with the like dark sand green. I can't remember what that's called. Earth green, maybe. Actually, no. I think earth green is the one that I love. That's the dark green color, right? What is that color? That's like. What is this color? I know it, and I can't think of it right now. Do y'all know this green? Um, All right, so for the brighter blue cherries, those are going in navy. So we do that 6 times, and then on the next page, they're going in that green color. So we do that 7 times, and that's for this middle section. And it creates interesting color mixes because it's right next to the teal. So having all those colors together, which actually that's like a little bit of jewel tone almost, and that's a little bit of what I did um, for one of my modulars mocks. So bright green, it's not bright green. It's also probably hard to see in the way that I showed that up to the screen. It is like a dark green. Like I keep thinking earth green, but I have a little chart that's in the other room. I can't remember right now though. Tips and Bricks does have the cherries as new colors, and maybe it's sand blue for the leaf. Um, I think it's like a sand green, but I don't think it's called sand green because I think sand green is the beautiful one, and I think this is, you know what? I'm gonna go get my chart and I'll tell you. So, be right back once I get this cherry in. This is a little tedious because, you have to adjust the cherry positioning on here as well. Okay, so from our friends over at We Love What You Build, they sent me the periodic table of the Lego colors, which is a really cool design. And they also sent me a new version last year that's called the Metro Network of the Lego colors. So it's a different way of visualizing them. That was just kind of a fun change up for them. Here's the Metro line one, which is really cool. But I love it because I actually use it to figure out, okay, olive green. So this is olive green that I was looking at. There is there's not sand blue in here yet, I don't see. But we have olive green, we have dark azure, which is the bright blue color that I was saying, is dark azure. Um, bright light blue, which is what I was saying already, I think. And then, oh, that color, yellowish green is the one that I was calling the light green. So yeah, anyway, very handy chart. It lists, this one doesn't have as much detail as the periodic table, so I recommend the periodic table one better than this one. But I do find the charts to be really helpful. The other one, the periodic table one, lists what the color is listed in Bricklink as well as what is listed on Lego websites. And I find that to be very helpful since they are different from each other, and I reference mine all the time. So, if you want one, I have a discount code that's BJB. I think it's just BJB, but I can look it up and see. And I think it gets you 10% off. It might give you 15% off. I can't remember. But it also gives me the kickback for you buying it. So I think it's 10% off because I think they're $50, and I think you save $5 and I get $5 if you buy one. Um, so yeah, feel free to use that code if you want to. They also have a T-shirt that they made and sent me one. It's the periodic table T-shirt, which is cute. I use it more as a reference chart, so I prefer it more as the wall art piece. Plus, I think it's a pretty beautiful visual for my Lego room. So that was not meant to be an ad, but it kind of became one. But truthfully, it literally is a product that I actually use. So that's one where I'm happy to be an influencer for them, if you will. I hate that phrase, but it's I think it's somewhat truthful sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, the periodic one, I agree. I find it very helpful. They just came out with a new one last year, and now there's some new colors again for Lego. So I'm curious to see if they'll come out with another new one soon. Because just in January alone, we've got sets that have the new pink and the new like lavender type color. So one, two, three, four, five. I'm missing one. Here we go. Six. Um, so yeah, that's another thing is like if you wanted to buy one, you might want to wait till they have the next one. You just shared the periodic table of minifigs on the Discord. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thanks. Um, do you have a discount code for it? Because if so, great. And if you don't, if you want to add mine, that'd be great. So if you have your own, please add your own. I don't want to take that from you by any means, but that way people can also save a little bit of money. So um, let's see. On my Instagram, in my link tree, it says whatever the code is for it. I think it's BJB. For some of them, it's BJB10. So you do not have one, not an influence, more of a mocker. That's fair. Um, I sometimes think like, am I even an influencer? Like I said, I don't love that labeling. Just because I don't know, it comes across as cringy to me. And I think part of it too is it's like I am enjoying I love living life. I love building, I love teaching and educating and helping others grow and that kind of thing. And so like to me, I see myself more as an educator than as an influencer, I guess. And I think that's why things like my build challenge tend to have the approach of education in them, right? It's just more me. But Technically, I am an influencer, I suppose, given that that's a job title for some people. I do prefer the term content creator, I think, although I'm the one who just uses influencer for myself. So, it more as I don't have an affiliate link code. I don't find the time you do for all the posts. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. And I didn't take it as any criticism by any means either. So no worries there. But yeah, it is funny to me. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I mean, I guess I'm an influencer, but it also sounds like I'm assuming that I'm influencing people versus like I'm a content creator. I create content. That's true. That literally is what I do. That's what I spend my time doing. So I what I make money off of is some of that, but for the most part, it's like, if I get hired by a company to do some kind of cool work, like I did with Just Salad, which was so fun, or like the Wicked project, Lego did pay me for that, which was important because they were asking a huge amount of work for that. So I do like that they pay people for projects like that. And then my consulting business, of course. So that's different because that's not always Lego connected. Sometimes it is. It depends on the business. Some businesses want me to do Lego related things with their employees, which is fun. Um, and then these affiliate links and that kind of stuff. So um, it is it is interesting because it's like people don't think of this as work. And I mean, I to some degree I don't either. So, what was the Just Salad thing? Oh, so fun. Oh, yay, thanks. Yeah, my background display is predominantly all Pokemon because last week I just finished going through my Pokemon week and building all of those on the live stream. So, and it won't forever be Pokemon. Not gonna lie, my husband, it's not his favorite. So that all those are gonna go back in the Lego room. But the Wicked build is going to stay on the wall there. That's something that will always be there, which is fun. And he loves the build there too. He's very supportive of that. Let me check here. One, two, three, four, five, six. Where's the other one go? Oh, here. I missed that one. Okay. Whew. This can be really confusing. Okay, it says a Lego cherry tree element symbolizes the cherry trees that Monet planted near his water garden as an expression of his love of Japanese art and culture. That was also a big part of what they talked about during um, the reveal. That was fascinating to learn. Was about his deep passion and interest in um, Japanese culture and how that influenced kind of what showed up in his garden. Okay, we're almost to this place of putting in all of these rods, and I'm so excited because I think it's going to be really pretty once we get these in here. I think I did one too many of the ones with cherries. Um, okay, so this one was wrong. Whew, so confusing. Okay, let me put these in um, real quick, and then I'll show you this before we get to putting in all those rods. So the Just Salad thing, I was hired by a really great company called Just Salad. They are a restaurant in New York and Florida, and I want to say Chicago area. There's a couple other areas too that's slipping my mind right now. And they have a new menu item, and they asked me to build it out of Lego. And so I did, and shared a reel with them collaboratively this month, and it was so much fun. And their audience loved it, which is great. And I just had a blast getting to build Lego food. So that's what that one was. So you can see it on my Instagram. I am going to post it to YouTube. I think I need to just make sure that I have permission to do so because I did have to sign a contract with them of what I was providing since it was a paid opportunity. All right, here we go. Beautiful. See this whole middle section that we just did. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit more of the detail there. Really, really pretty. Lots of those cherries in that section and really kind of darker, deeper colors in that section. And now we get to the joy of putting in all of these rods, which hopefully is going to be a relatively easy thing to do in terms of positioning. So we'll go through piece by piece. I will do my best to continue chatting while we do this, but this might be one where there are moments where I need to pause. So yeah, the spacing of these. Okay, so far they are not all connected to multiple They're all connected to one clip at a time, which is interesting. I was hoping they'd be connected to two to make it easier to position them, but I'm also finding because they're all side by side with the other clips, that it's not going to be that hard, I think, to maintain the distance that I need to for this. I'm getting some olive, some yellowish green, some bright green, and some clear transparent blue, which is fun in here. This one is a little bent, so not bent. There was a little scratch on the edge of that one, so I had to rotate it because I wanted it to not show the scratch visibly. Oh wow, this is going to be so fun to watch on this uh, a fast speed build feed once I'm done uh, filming that too. I'm excited to share that with y'all. It'll be fun for y'all to see, like, oh, that's what it looks like from above, based on what you saw in the live stream. um, And it gives you an inside glimpse into the life of a content creator. This is how I build Lego sets. When I'm not live streaming, I'm typically filming what I'm building. And then I edit it later. And sometimes it becomes a reel, sometimes it becomes a longer form video. And it adds an added layer to the build experience that can sometimes be fun and can sometimes be annoying. So, yeah, I love the dark blue leaves. I think that was a really nice touch. I want to say that they already existed because I think there might have been some in the Wednesday set, the Wednesday not mini doll, the Wednesday doll set. But I don't remember if that's the case. It might be completely brand new. It is interesting as I'm doing this, I keep wondering if I'm grabbing the right length of rod because there are the longer and shorter ones that don't have any. Whoops. Ah, okay. Careful not to throw them across the room. There's the shorter ones and then the longer ones that's just like slightly different. And then there's the even longer ones, but those it's easier to know because there's the little stopper on the edge. With these, it's a little bit harder to know exactly if it's the right one or not. So I have to pick it up and measure it a couple different times before putting it on. Also, once you get some on, it's harder to move and reposition them if you get them in the wrong place. So I'm wanting to make sure that I don't have to redo this multiple times. But wow, this is really interesting. And I can't wait to hold it up to the camera in a second and show you so that you can see just how unique the coloring is once you get these lines in. They're also like some are shifted up a little bit more than others. And oh, and we're even using this one, the teeny one that has the little stopper in the middle. That's cool. Okay, and that one is gonna go there, right? Yep, okay. I do like when a stopper's on it and it, like, bumps up right against the stopper because that tells you, "I positioned this perfectly." Okay, there should be another clear, transparent clear. Wait, this is also why I will never throw away the bags because I'm sure it's in this bag. This is bag 11. Yep, there it is. As a matter of fact. Come on, there we go. Yeah, be very careful with these paper bags not to misplace pieces altogether. Whew, okay. And having things like, we talked about this before, but having things like the red plates on here at certain points really helps with the spacing. Because then you know exactly where things go. I'm guessing that's also going to help with overlapping this section and the next section potentially. We'll probably cover up that part of the red with something. And so, that obviously would make sense because you don't want it visually showing through if the color's not supposed to be there. But it's uh, it's also a nice like placeholder for your brain to know like this goes a little further up or a little further down or whatever. Um, all right, lime. Okay, we're starting to get some lime pieces, so this is new. We had some lime in the background, but we haven't built much with it yet, and we're also using some of these Y-shaped uh, carrot tops in lime as well here. So that's going to add another interesting depth of color. And Interesting shapes there too. There's also, like, a certain orientation for these, little friends that, the Y-shaped ones, where you can do them this way or that way that also make a difference. Alright, we're still going. There's a lot of these bars, and this is just one section, but I'm so glad that the instructions did it this way because I was a little bit afraid that today we were just gonna be working on like the frame and some of the base layer stuff. And I'm so glad that the way these instructions work, you get to see that whole process for one section at a time because it's a little bit more satisfying too as a build. It would be a little bit more boring to do just like all the base layer and then move on to all the next layer and all that kind of thing. I want to say that's how it was with the Van Gogh with the sunflowers. Let me see. Is that right? That's wrong. Wrong color. But that may have been wrong. I may have misremembered that a little bit. I'll have to watch my video later on that one, or I'll just completely forget, which is more than likely what'll happen. Okay. Yeah, this is really satisfying, and I like because I'm kind of working my way up and then back down, like snaking back down as I go down with the clips, and it's nice to follow along and makes it easy to follow along as you're going through. Okay, so that one goes quite a bit down, and this one goes a little further down. Okay. Um, It'll also be interesting to see how many of these bars that we have extra afterward. I feel like usually we get quite a few extra. Oh wait, I already did that. Okay, cool. Now green. Okay, here's our fun question. Do any of you typically have a song in your head all the time? Like nonstop, you constantly have a soundtrack going that's playing in the background all the time. I do nonstop. And I asked Philip, and the way I asked him was like, "Oh, what song's in your head right now?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I just want to know what you're hearing." It's like I don't have a song in my head. And I don't understand that because that's my brain literally. I nonstop am listening to music, whether I like it or not, in my head. So it was interesting to me to find out through my conversations with him. This is a couple years ago, but to find out through my conversations with him that that's not the case. And that's not what he hears all the time, or that his brain isn't just running a mile a minute all the time to where he's constantly hearing things. But mine literally nonstop, I have a soundtrack, and it's not even a soundtrack by choice. It's whatever my brain just decides it wants to listen to and hear, and is constantly there. Okay, we're getting closer to finished with this section so that I can show you how beautiful it is coming together. Um, I'm curious too. So my approach has been to kind of snake my way up and down, but I wonder if other people would be snaking more like left or right with some of these. It's typically that there's like two rows that you're doing at a time, from what I'm seeing in the instructions, and so that also kind of leads most people probably to go up and down, but people might do like side by side all the way down. More just out of curiosity than anything. There's no right way to do it per se. You don't have a constant soundtrack, but I usually have a song in my head. What music typically plays in your head, Missy? Thank you for answering. I was curious if anybody else, if people heard the question, but then also if anybody else has that experience, because yeah, it's literally nonstop all the time playing, and I don't know how to describe it to people who don't have that experience. So you have that too relatively often, mostly with songs I like, and sometimes a word can trigger a certain song because it mentions the word in the lyrics. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it goes for me. I mean, and I know that it's influenced heavily by what I'm hearing all the time because every morning my alarm clock the music that plays there is always an earworm until my brain picks up on something else that it moves on to. So I know that the influence is there from whatever's going on around me. Um, but yeah, it's nonstop noisy in here. Like I can't control that. I can't make it quiet. And usually I'm cool with that, but there are days when I'm like, I just want it to be quiet. Why can't it be quiet? All right, y'all, only a few more pages. Only a few more pages. This is cool. I'm guessing 2 more steps, so I think it might just be 2 more pages, actually. Let's see. See, that goes there. This is really tedious, but really fun. Yeah, I could see if this were a build for a brand new builder, how this would be a very annoying one if you're not used to reading Lego instructions and positioning things, like using clips and that kind of stuff. It could be a really hard to get a hold of, what you're supposed to be doing. So I am glad that for me, it's something that I enjoy, but I could see some people getting pretty frustrated with this build. There's a group on Facebook that I'm a part of that I mostly just kind of lurk in, but it's a whole bunch of people that love to build Lego sets, and they also build a lot of off-brand sets. So that's also partly why I lurk more because I don't engage with them on all of the off-brand things. As a Lego ambassador, we don't really do that. So yeah, it is interesting though to hear their thoughts on things and their frustrations with sets and the questions they ask. Like it's clear that for many of them, this is a brand new hobby. And I love that they found a space where they're connecting with lots of other brand new hobbyists and Lego builders. But yeah, I could see some of them. I'm sure some of them, when they get this set, will say, "This was so annoying. I hated building this because I didn't like having to put all the rods in. And why couldn't they do this in a different way?" Um, and honestly, I really like that feedback. It's really helpful to hear because it gives me a different perspective than your typical A-full community member who might be a mock builder and, have their own experiences. So, all right, let's see. Not sure. I get a random song or word phrase that gets stuck and I have to keep saying it till it gets unstuck. Yep. Bev says, my mom will start singing a song from a word she hears in conversation. Now I find myself doing the same thing. Oh my gosh, me too. All the time. It's like a nonstop thing. So, okay. And then this last page, before I show you, it says Lego bar elements are used in different shapes and sizes with the occasional carrot top element added to the mix to represent vertical brushstrokes, which was a key part, a key feature to um, Monet's art process. So, really beautiful. Really beautiful. And I want, like I said, I like to make sure that I have everything positioned in the way that the Lego designers positioned them because they had some intention and reason behind it. And so with these clips, it's easy for the most part, but with the carrot top ones, you have to make sure that it's either this way or this way because it is slightly different, which I'm sure a lot of people won't care about, and that's fine for them. It's not fine for me. I want it to be exact based on what the designers did. So, honestly, I think my favorite technique that I'm learning so far in this is using the bars for the clips and bars for coloring. Like, it's just such a different experience. Now, it's not something that is mind blowing. Like, I never would have thought to do that, but it kind of is to some degree. It's not necessarily something that people would have thought to do on their own per se. Although I'm sure some people have already explored and experimented with that. All right, what I'm seeing as leftover are 3 of the smallest bars in, lime, teal, and olive green. All the mid-sized bars and the long bars that have the stoppers, there aren't any duplicates of, but these 3 are. There's also 2 of the carrot tops, one in reddish brown, one in lime green, And there's one of this smaller bar that has the stopper in the middle. Ta-da! Good stuff. Okay, are you ready for the reveal? This is so fun, y'all. Okay, far away, different angles. And now let's zoom closer. This is so exciting. I'm loving this. And I'm actually really enjoying the build process. It does not feel boring or overly tedious. I think I'm enjoying it because they did it in this order. Because if you did all of the bars all at once across the entire thing, I'm sure that would get very monotonous and boring after a while. Okay, I'm going to stop here for today. We got through 11 bags. We are close to halfway there. There are 25 bags total. Thank you for joining. Thank you for putting up with the silly drama of YouTube video crashing disaster. I'd love it if you would like the feed, if you enjoyed your time today with me, and encourage other people to join us next Wednesday. I will be doing live streams every Wednesday, starting at 1. So I'll go like 1 to 4 every Wednesday. And next week is my birthday week. So I'm trying to think of what I want to do next week. It might be building a set that's been in my backlog for a long time as opposed to building a new review set. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see. But really looking forward to seeing you again next week for my birthday week fun. And grateful that you're here this week. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy week of love. Please check out the Habitat Building.